Hey there, everybody. Welcome back with the Plat. Purplatypus is the name. We have 95 hours. We're level 99 with all my characters. All of at least one of their jobs is level 99. We're at the money cap for Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. I have played through the new game plus on legend mode and beaten it. I have gone through all the bosses. I have done some post-game grinding. So what do I think about the DLC, or how has my opinion of the game changed, if at all, since basically my thoughts on video after I completed the game? So if you've heard this once, you've probably heard this 1,000 times. Um, the base game is incredible, easily worth the price of admission, easily. One of the greater RPGs to come out in quite some time, since probably, I don't know, like Persona 5 R, like it's that level of great RPG. Um, the DLC, though, it is purely not worth 20 bucks, in my opinion. It's not very good, if I'm being honest. What it does is add New Game Plus, but New Game Plus is implemented in like the worst way possible. Like, you have to go through, even if you've completed Dondoko Island, you have to go through when you get to that part of the story and wait there for 3 days. It resets everything, and you would have to either redo it, or just, like, if you don't want to do it, you still have to sit there for three Dondoko Island days to get through it. Whenever you're automatically thrown into fights like early in the game, and you're using no weapon. If you have a character with like a maxed out legendary weapon, they're gonna auto not equip your weapons for you because you didn't have a weapon in the first playthrough. So you're gonna suddenly be doing 1 damage, to a lot of things for these weird fights. And it resets the map. It resets your aloha, the people you go up and hit a button on and they join your squad. They reset that for, like, I don't know why they reset that one, because that's the biggest grind of all. Like, I'm gonna do that a second time. Like, I didn't even do it the first time, but I was thinking I would do it once over 2 playthroughs. So the New Game Plus is pretty bad. Now, we're gonna talk about, I'll get to that in a second. It's pretty bad. The legendary difficulty, which is what I played it on, was easier, in my opinion, than the initial playthrough, which I already thought was borderline too easy, but it was still incredibly entertaining and fun. The New Game Plus was literally easier. I even beat the Amon fight that you're not supposed to beat with Kiryu. The one that's like you lose and it continues the story because you unlock his ultimate. I even beat that fight. Every fight that I was like, oh, this fight's a little bit difficult, or, this fight could be tough for some players, in the initial playthrough, was easier in New Game Plus. Their levels were higher, and they dealt more damage, but it didn't matter because you're so much stronger. So it's like the point of the legendary difficulty is to push the mechanics to their extreme. And maybe because I'm an experienced JRPG player, I push the mechanics too far to the extreme for what the game is planning players to do. Not that I'm some prodigy of spreadsheets and math, but like, I typically know what abilities are strong in JRPGs because I've played a lot of them. However, the game never pushed back, like, at all. I think I had 1 game over. I had 2 game overs in the New Game legendary difficulty. One of them was in like this dungeon. The very first time I got here, I went to the EX version. I lost on a random fight in the EX. I'm like, all right, I'm level 75, 76, and these guys are like level 95. I'll just come back later, which I did. And it was no problem. The other one was during the 3 Legends fight, which is a pretty tough fight. That's the one fight that wasn't strictly easier. It was probably pretty equivalent, but all the rest of the fights were nothing. So the New Game Plus mode kind of sucks. The big swell is just a pay to win thing. It's weird because this is like so pay to win in a way. You get so much experience, so much gold, so much job experience. You get the ability to rank up your jobs extra fast. The big swell absolutely breaks the balance if you wanted to go from New Game to New Game Plus. The big swell breaks the balance, which is why they're included, I think. Because if you got New Game Plus without big swell, you would have to go through hard mode probably first to get enough experience to get up to level 75 to then go through level 75. But the big swell lets you bypass. You get to go from like level 45 to 75 by going through it pretty easily. And then when you do it, you also could get your jobs maxed out pretty easily because you can grind those books that are super cheap there. And then beyond that, you can also go around and like farm. There's a bunch of guys here, which I don't think they're included in the DLC. I think they're just in the premium adventure version of the game. But if you want to really break the game and you want legend difficulty to be a joke, you're just going to come here and you'll find different elites around. I've done a few videos on them. I've done two. One on a specific one, then I learned that it was a whole series of enemies, and I did an updated video basically. But you can see there's a guy with the thing here, and then they'll drop boosters. So you can absolutely break the balance on your own. But even if you decide not to, like the Big Swell kind of does that. And the Big Swell is not particularly fun. Unfortunately, I think it's fine. It's got the most interesting boss fights, which are still not very good. It has a fun story where you get to hear, you know, people get to connect or whatever, but it's just like, it's not on the same level of the really good story of the main game. So overall, the DLC is not worth it. It's got pretty lousy content in it. New Game Plus is not really worth it, and the Big Swell is not very good either. Now, with all that said, I had a lot of fun, man. And I think you know if you're going to get $20 of value out of this. I did. All right. My first playthrough before I bought the DLC was 76 hours. So I got roughly 20 more hours of game time out of the DLC. I got more than that, actually. I got a little bit more because this is me using the Big Swell, which means I'd already bought the DLC. This was just before New Game Plus. So I probably got 25 hours of entertainment out of the $20 experience. So for me, it was worth it. I had a lot of fun going through this game, getting my characters to the max level, min-maxing their builds, min-maxing their stats and equipment, getting duplicates of some things, and then going through and kind of getting the quote-unquote achievement of having a, the premium adventure legend on my account. But I don't think for the average person it's worth it. Like, if you're buying this game and you don't know if you're going to play New Game Plus and go through the game twice, no way should you buy that. Just buy the base game. If it's so much better to buy the base game for $15 cheaper and then lose $5 on the back end by spending $20 instead of $15 up front. Like, if you spend $15 up front and you never do it, you've wasted $15. If you don't buy it up front, then you buy 20 later, you're losing $5. So it's just true, but it's like not that big of a deal. I'd rather spend the $5, the extra $5, and know I'm going to use it, as opposed to throwing 15 against the wall and feeling guilty and like I have to do it. So it's kind of a weird spot because I had a lot of fun. I think it's an incredible game. I think the DLC is clearly one of the worst parts of the game. Even though, like, if I had to derive, like, the main game experience is like a 9 out of 10. Okay. If I want to be honest, it's like a 9 out of 10 experience, mostly carried by the incredible story, but the combat mechanics are fun. The game is relatively well balanced. Things like that. Once you get the New Game Plus, the fun experience, like, it goes from like a 9 out of 10 to like a 5 out of 10. It's a significant drop in quality, and you're spending $20 to do it, which kind of sucks. But the thing is, I've still had fun at a 5 out of 10. I mean, maybe it's like a 6 out of 10 or something, it depends on how you're using the scale. In my mind, I was thinking as 5 is still as a positive number. Like, anything between 1 and 10 is positive. Like, a 2 would have been positive. But the point is, it's like, it's a significant dip in quality, but I mean, it's still fun. It's the entertainment time to the entertainment and quality ratio to money is so much worse than the base game. But I don't think it's complete dog shit. If you know what you're getting into, you're just getting into a kind of mindless, no reason to do it, but you're just having fun, like, grinding in an MMO or something. You're just going around collecting herbs or something in World of Warcraft. That's kind of that. You're just kind of going through it again. It's not very hard. It's fun, but not like the great experience that it was. So I mean, that's kind of my opinion on it overall. It's a little rambly, I guess, and I don't want to go repeat too much over and over again the exact same stuff. Did I thank my members? And I meant to thank my members and I forgot. 1 second here. I thank my members for really quick before we jump into the video. Sorry. I thank my members and supporters. Thank you very much for the support. I'm still getting used to it. I'm not used to having people actually supporting me. If you want to support the Plat to make more videos, this is the best way to do it. Liking the video, subscribing, watching, those are the number one. Number two, if you want to go above and beyond, you got it right there. Thank you. So I don't want to kind of go in circles, but I would not say the DLC hampered my experience of the game much. It did a little bit. Like, I'm not going to lie. I was really, really high on the base game. And this kind of took me back a little bit. Like, if it brought it the experience from a total experience of a 9 out of 10 to maybe an 8 out of 10 or an 8.5 out of 10. Just like a little bit, like, if you, like, an example is if you sell a, someone in my comments did this, right? They went through the drink links or whatever with Namba, and then they like sold his cane or whatever, like the homeless man's cane to make the ultimate weapon. He just couldn't get it in his playthrough. The only way to get it is to start a brand new game or buy New Game Plus and go through the game a second time. And so it's like that almost feels like that's there to encourage you to get the New Game Plus to go through it a second time. The fact that they have no real end game and the end game that is there is a joke. Like, the dungeon's final levels are jokes. Easy. Easy. And they want to make sure you know how easy it is because they give you the ability to grind your stat. Let's say I probably beat them at like 700 magic. I have over 1,000 magic now just from like leveling up and shit like that. Like, they let you grind your stats almost as high as you could possibly want. There doesn't seem to be a stat cap. If it is, it's irrelevantly high. And so it's just easy and it's a joke. And the end game being a joke and easy feels like it's a design choice specifically to feed you in the New Game Plus, because that's the post game now, is playing the game again on a harder difficulty. But that even because they did it, they also did that badly. And so now it's just like a more expensive. You have to pay more for your end game, and now your end game is bad instead of them just including it in the game. I wish they would have done more cosmetics. I wish they would have found another way to monetize it. I would prefer the 3-day early access thing. You know what? I would prefer if they charged $20 extra to give us 3 days early access and then just have a full completed game when I bought it. And then, I could wait 3 days, or I probably wouldn't. I'd probably let them scam me like that, right? But the point is, I just wish they would have found a different way to monetize it, because I feel like the entire base game is a package is so good, and they did it perfectly, essentially perfectly. And then they get to the finish line when you're about to do all the really, like in Dragon Quest 11, the post game, the really fun engaging mechanics of doing all this extra stuff, the post game, the hard super fights is like almost a third of the entire game. Now that's an extreme example, but you get the ending credits almost 2/3 into the game. And then there's this whole extra, all right, now you're going to get into the super nitty gritty RPG, not very story driven mechanics. Like, RPGs do that a lot. And this game really, really dropped the ball on that. They decided to, I feel like, monetize it, and then they did a bad job on it after the fact. But I'm still positive. I actually really love the game. I can't wait for the sequel. I'm going to play any game with Ichiban in it. If they release a fucking Yakuza gacha with Ichiban, I'm going to fucking play it because I love Ichiban. I mean, I'm old enough now to admit to myself that I'm eating the dick in that salad. But no, I mean, I don't really have that much else to say. Overall, it was still a very positive experience, with obvious downsides being the paid DLC. I mean, I never used the linebacker or tennis ace jobs. I hear they're very, very good. And just because I don't, like, the game was already so easy, and I apologize if it wasn't easy for you. I don't mean to imply that I'm not trying to say you're bad at the game if it's easy for you. But as someone that's played a lot of JRPGs, this was a very easy video game for me personally. Just like someone plays every single Dark Souls game, and then Elden Ring comes out, and they're just like, what do you mean? You just jump attack, kill a thing. It took me like 100 hours to beat the game, and I died 6,000 times because I'm dog shit. And then people come through and, they almost like, yeah, it wasn't too hard. It was fun. I'm like, what? but just different skill sets for different players, right? So I found the game too easy, and I didn't even want to use that because they would have increased the power level. Maybe people say it just increases the option. A guarantee and rage on all enemies is fucking powerful, bro. That's buying power. But I mean, that's gonna be it for today. Overall, you already heard me say what I'm gonna say. I'm just talking in circles now. So much love. If you have anything you want to add, please let me know. And I want to give a special thanks to my one member. You get a shout out at the end of the video too if you're a member. To bring the pain. If it ever becomes too much, I'll change how it works because I'm not gonna do 100 names at the end of a video. But if we ever get to 100 names, I'll dedicate a video to each and every one of you. Holy shit, that would be insane. But it doesn't matter. All right, you guys have a good night, good day. I always say good night because I record these at night, right before bed, after work. There's not much time in between. And yeah, that's it. Much love. Purplatypus is Purplatypus. I'll see you on the flip flops. You guys have a good one.